Hey Legacy Builders, welcome back to Mind Your Money. My name is Tasha and I'm going to talk about how I budgeted for January and what our goals were. And I on a spreadsheet, but then I use a pen and paper in my own budgeting workbook. So I have an annual budget workbook which is available on Amazon, and this is where I set up like my monthly calendar. I have a vision board. In this one I can set up top 3 goals. I can set my monthly budget, and then I budget by paycheck. So there are 5 budget by paycheck worksheets within this budget workbook. Expense trackers for whatever credit account or your debit account that you like to use. You can track your savings funds or sinking funds. You can track your net worth every single month, and then you can start with planning or pre-planning or brain dumping for the next month. So this is one that I use, and this is another one that I use that I've created, the Mind Your Money Simple Budget Workbook. This is for 6 months, and this is on Amazon. This is my author's copy. So it has mostly the same pages, except for there's no brain dump, there's no vision board, there's no top 3 goals page, but there are 5 budget by paycheck worksheets. So if you have extra income one month, or if you have side hustle income, you could always use that. And then there are spaces for notes, which you could also do brain dump and pre-plan for the next month. So I use both of them interchangeably, but because we just had a baby, I decided to put all of my information here just to make things simple. But I think what I'll do is I'll go over everything as far as the expenses, what our goals were, what our to-dos were for the month, to see if we hit any of those, and then talk about how much we were actually able to save. So I hope you're able to follow along with me. So January we planned for a $3,000 income, and I track my budget from the 31st of December through the 27th of January, right? So, and I budget by paycheck too. So this monthly budget is directly connected to how I budget by paycheck from Sunday to Saturday. All right. And then I think my last video was my December budget closeout, and some of these videos that I'm going to be releasing may be few and far in between, but that's just because we had a new baby, so things are pretty busy with recovery and all the stuff that comes along with a newborn. All right, so getting into the numbers, I did a budget for each item that I have: fixed expenses, variable expenses, savings, investing goals, all of it. And then on the right side is the actual. So we budgeted for February's rent in January for $1,500, and then we did put aside $1,500 to pay February's rent. Our gym membership, I budgeted $94. It came out for $93.75, and going forward from February on until whenever we can, we won't be paying a gym membership. I did cancel that temporarily until things, maybe the weather gets warmer and we have an actual opportunity to use the gym membership, because we needed to cut back a lot to help us hit some goals and pay down our credit card debt. Our non-owner's car insurance was budgeted at $77, and it hit for $76.83. I normally round up on the bills anyway, just to see if we can still fit them within our minimum budget. We budgeted $50 for electricity. It came out at $47.03. We budgeted for our first life insurance policy for $33, but we didn't pay for it from this budget because we had a cushion in another account that we used to pay our life insurance. Same thing with life insurance number 2. We budgeted for $36, but we actually didn't pay from this budget. We used that account cushion to cover that expense, so that helped us. The cell phone was budgeted at $94, but we paid $93. Internet was budgeted at $85. It came out for $84.99. The emergency fund, I planned to save $40 in January, but we just saved $7.50. Investments, we were to invest $150. We invested $145, so $5 short on our investments for the month of January. Our purpose funds, we have a whole bunch of them, and I'm hoping I can film a 2024 financial goals update at the end of the first quarter. So if you stay tuned, you'll see what all of those are and how we're saving for that, and if we're going to hit our goal for the first quarter of the year. So we were to save $210 in our purpose funds, but we saved more. We saved $166 more. I think that's the difference. $376.33. If I can do math. Yeah, $166 more we saved, which is nice. And then our tithe was supposed to be $300. We tithed $279. Cash, we were to pull out $300, but we just pulled out $180. Miscellaneous was to get $6. They got $0. Household was to get $25. They got $10. So this was our $3,000 budget on the left side, and this is the actual on the right side. And it doesn't look like I totaled how much we spent. So let me add that up right now. We put $1,500 aside for rent, $93.75 for YMCA. Okay, $2,893.43. That looks like that's the amount that we either saved or paid towards bills, which is not bad. I feel like there's some extra there, but I'm not going to go penny for penny right now because I just don't need to. We had some goals, okay, and some reminders and some to-dos. Our anniversary is in February, so I just put that first so I could remember to put some money aside for it. And we did, because again, we don't budget with the 100% of the income. So we'll see how that goes. And because we just had a baby, I don't even know if we're going to be able to celebrate. We were to add to annual bills. I think we did that, and I'll show you when I break down my paychecks. Next month's bills. The goal was to get to $500. We did that, so that's why I put a check mark there. If you were here back in between November and December, I talked about switching out our food from miscellaneous to a separate food category. So I did that. I started adding to that food category. So we're saving up to be able to start using it regularly in probably starting in March. So I'll talk more about that later. We were to restrict miscellaneous spending, reduce the credit card balance because we have some outstanding charges we need to take care of. Track expenses, I did that. So I'll put a check mark here because I did track expenses. Earn extra income, we did, which was great. And then I just wrote some reminders for my household and my business credit cards. The statement dates, I need to know those. The due date for this HH is a household statement date. It's the 22nd. The due date is the 16th. And then for my business credit card, the statement date is the 3rd. The due date is the 28th. So I'm trying to make sure that we make payments before the statement date. So the balance reports is less than what we actually, it reports less each time. So we have some debt confession, debt repayment plan videos hopefully coming out before the quarter ends. I can't guarantee it's going to be February or even March, but before the quarter ends, I'll try to get that out to you. I broke down my purpose funds. This is what I plan to do for the month. I planned transportation at 34, wellness at 15, Christmas at 10, gifts at 10, clothing at 16, food at 125. But that changed. So we were that $210 that I planned was supposed to go here, but we put 15 in transportation, 15 in wellness, $6 to Christmas, 15 to gifts, 6 to clothing, and $115 went to food because I wanted to try and get that to $150 by the end of the month since we already had a small balance in there before January started. I did set up a calendar for January, and I even had some goals here, and at the bottom where it says to-dos, goals, affirmations, I usually start with 3, but I had 4. So resist miscellaneous spending, increase food account by 150, and that's one I wanted to make sure we did, and we did that. Keep cushion keep cushion no lower than $600. I did not get that goal. I didn't hit that goal at all. But save 500 in next month's bills. We did hit that one. Okay, baby. So, all right. No to that, yes to that, and that's what I wanted to share. Because I wrote my calendar here to track all of those things. So some of the money went to different purpose funds. These are only a few of them. We have a whole lot more, and I track them more in detail on my spreadsheet. I'm probably going to share that with the members of the channel, just so you guys can kind of get to see more in depth how I plan and how I reached certain goals for the month. So right here, our actual was 172, but we saved more money because again, we saved $376, and I have other purpose funds that I wanted to contribute to, so I'll talk about that in another video. For the members, investments, these were the 4 places I wanted to invest money. So Fidelity IRA was to get 75, it got 70. Robinhood was to get 30, it got 50. My oldest 529 was to get 25. I didn't get anything for January. For M1 Finance, we were to invest $20 there, but we sent $15. So this ended up being 135 instead of 150. So that's the difference of where we invested for this month of January. In this little bitty calendar I wrote inside of this notebook, I tracked my paydays in blue, side income in like this pinkish color, and then a circle for no spend days. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 no spend days. That's not too bad. 10 no spend days in the month of January. I'm trying to track these to motivate myself to stop that miscellaneous spending I talked about, and then reduce our credit card, because we need to do that and not eat too much into our cushions in our accounts, because we're going to need that money for random things that come up. Okay. I did get Google AdSense Pay, so that helped with our budget. But again, my husband got a significant raise, but we didn't see it until the end of January. So our income that we used was less than what we planned, and that's the reason why. So, I mean, thank God that Google AdSense came in, and I appreciate everybody who contributes just by being here, watching videos. It's absolutely free to you unless you pay for YouTube Premium, and YouTube pays me for these views, and I appreciate it. It's another way for us to add income and reach our family's financial goals. So thank you so much. So that was it. I did get a little bit from KDP, but I used that money towards February's budget, and I'll talk about February's budget in a separate video. Again, my videos might be few and far in between because of the baby and everything. So life is busy and beautiful. All right, let's talk about the paycheck budgets as well, because I used to film those every week. I think I'm going to change that in 2024, or maybe for the first quarter. We'll see how it goes, because I don't know if too many people really get value from the paycheck budgets, and then it might be a little strenuous for me to film them each week, but I will definitely try if that's something you guys want to see. So for paycheck 1, we planned for we planned for $750. We were going to tithe, invest, and save first. That's the very first thing we do, because we believe in giving 10% of our income. So if you give to charity or if you give to your church, that should be the first thing that comes out. And then your top goals. Our top goals are to make sure we invest and save with every single paycheck. So I normally just take 5% from whatever the budgeted amount is, the income, and then I put it towards the investments and savings. Rent has to be paid. We have to take care of our 4 walls. And then whatever bills are due within this pay period. For this first paycheck, it was the gym membership. And then I was to pull out cash, put some money towards the emergency fund, household, miscellaneous, and next month's bills. And what we actually did was $590 for income. 59 was our tithe, 25 went to investing, $30 went to savings, $375 towards rent, $93.75 towards that bill. I did pull out $80 in cash, and $750 went to emergency fund, and that was it. We were over budget with this paycheck by $80.25, so that reduced our account cushion. And the new account balance after this paycheck was closed out was $200. And then on to paycheck number 2. For paycheck number 2, we budgeted again $750. We did not get the increase that we expected, so the actual income that we used that week was $400. So our tithes was $40, investments was $20, savings was $20, rent was $143. Car insurance was $76.83 because that was due within that pay period. Again, I did not pay the life insurance number 1 from this budget because we had a cushion in another account where it gets paid from. I did not pull out cash the second week. I didn't put anything towards the emergency fund. I put 17 cents towards next month's bills, and then $100 went to food because, again, we were trying to get $150 in there by the end of the month. So because that was a top goal, that became the top priority of this paycheck for number 2. And then we had a zero-based budget there. We weren't over, and our account balance was still $200. So that was our cushion in that checking account. And then for paycheck number 3, $750 was what was budgeted. $800 is what we were able to use. So our tithe was $80, our investments was $40, savings was $40, rent portion for February was $375. The electricity bill was due and we paid $47.03. I didn't pull out cash. I didn't send anything to the emergency fund. I also had to pay the internet bill for $84.99. And with a little bit of extra income, I paid a credit card charge back from November that I hadn't paid yet for $29.82. We put $100 into next month's bills in paycheck 3, and $1 went to our Christmas fund, $1 went to clothing fund, and $1.16 went to the Zero Out Challenge. And we still had a $200 cushion at that time. Okay. Then for paycheck number 4, $750 is what we budgeted. We started to see the increase in the pay. So $1,000 is what we used. And we praise the Lord for everything that he does. So $100 went to tithe, $50 went to investing, $118 was saved, $607 went to fulfill the rent for February. Nothing for life insurance, cell phone, emergency fund, or cash, but we put $125 towards next month's bill so we could hit that goal. And our new account balance was $160 by the 4th paycheck of January. And what I did, because I was using this notebook, which is fine because you don't need the budget workbook to do your budget. You just need a simple notebook that you can get from just about anywhere, even the dollar store. But this is a tool notebook I'm using, and tool pages. I really like these, so I'll link it below if anybody else is interested. So what I did was, for each paycheck, the savings is a group of different accounts that we save in, and I just broke it down here at the bottom so I could know where exactly the funds are going. So for example, for paycheck number 1, we invested 4.2% of the income we used. 20 went to Fidelity, 5 went to Robinhood. Like, these are the fine details that I like to note for myself. So when I update my spreadsheet, or when it's time for me to actually go in and transfer the money or invest the money, I know exactly where it's going. $30 savings, that was 5% in paycheck 1. $25 went to next month's bills. $5 went to annual bills. And same thing, I did the same thing for paycheck 2, 3, and 4. In paycheck 2, 10 went to Fidelity and 10 went to Robinhood. 15 went to next month's bills, 5 went to annual bills. And then in paycheck number 3, 5% again was invested. 20 went to Fidelity, 20 went to Robinhood. $40 saved, which is 5% in paycheck 3. $10 went to food, $10 went to transportation. Looks like $10 went to household and $10 went to wellness. And then in paycheck 4, 5% of our income was invested. 20 of that went to Fidelity, 15 went to Robinhood, and 15 went to M1 Finance. And then looks like I saved $58, but I didn't finish writing out where I put the money. I don't know where I did that, so I'll have to check my spreadsheet to see. But this is how I was keeping track of everything within January's budget. let's take a look at the expense tracking. I always make sure to expense track everything because I need to know where the money is coming from, where the money is going, and this helps me quite a bit. So this is the credit card. We charged a total of $1,961.23 in the month of January, and I tracked everything. I even tracked our no spend days. So if there was a day where there were no charges posted, I'd mark that as a no spend day. For me, it's extra motivation. So when you're budgeting for your savings, no spend days are a great way to do that, because if you didn't spend money that day, you saved it, because it could have been money that goes away from you, but it stayed where it is. So it's just a little bit of motivation. January 2nd, we had some things. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 charges on that day, but 2 of those were bills. So, that's it. And I kind of just shaded where I paid those off, because of course we have to pay our bills because we budget for it. Groceries, when we had to buy things, stuff like that, those will come from our purpose funds. So we spent this column here is the category where we spent from. Okay, so food, because that's a new category for us. Bills, of course, transportation, wellness, more transportation charges, next month's bills, because we have bills that needed to be paid. It didn't come, this actually should be bills, not next month's bills, but that's where these are already covered. They were paid for. Some household expenses, more food expenses, of course, and only a couple miscellaneous, because again, I have a debt confession video that may be coming out sometime within the first quarter. We had some interest charges of $193.23 and an interest charge on a cash advance I took somewhere back in December, I think, or November, for 2 cents. So what I did was I paid that back using the cash rewards. But these are miscellaneous, and those are the only 2 miscellaneous expenses within within January. So that was how we spent $1,961, and these are the categories. I don't want to go through everything, but you hopefully get the gist of it. And it was only 1 page, so we did better than previous months because we have most of all the things we need for baby already, so there's less charges on the card. This is my expense tracking for my operating account. I basically just grouped all of the paychecks into one transfer and just totaled the amount. So we started the month started with a balance of $290.18, and then I just, wrote the date, the account or the place where the money was either deposited or transferred to, the type of transaction, and the category again, and then the amount. So we had 7 cents interest to start off our income for the month of January, $5.90 for the first paycheck, and then we had some withdrawals, investing, and withdrawing cash, and then paycheck number 1, I just subtracted the amount of money that came from here, or that was deducted, and that was $590.25. And then I tracked the income for the second week. The paycheck number 2, how much we used all of that $400. The income of $800 for week 3. The paycheck number 3, we used all of that $800 to get our zero-based budget. We pulled out cash on the 19th of January, so that was $100 deducted. We had the income, that large last paycheck for $1,000, and we invested $30. And then paycheck number 4, we actually moved $970. So it looks like the income that I totaled was $2,790 with 7 cents. The expenses was $2,790 with 25 cents. We ended the month in this account with a balance of $100. And that was it. And I had one more processed cash withdrawal that I didn't include up there, but that still, these numbers add up, hopefully. And that's a look at how we tracked our operating account. This one account where all of our paychecks go, whatever we're budgeting with, whatever we're going to invest and save, it's going to move in and out from this account. I did have a $1,000 cushion at the end of December, I think, or the beginning of December, but we ended up having to use it for just life being life, and that's what it is. Life is good and life is challenging at the same time. Let me know if you agree. Life can be good and challenging at the very same time, because there's good days, there's not so good days, but there's always a blessing in each and every one of them. So that's my January budget in a nutshell. I hope you were able to follow along and get some tips on how to set goals and reach those goals. I had quite a few things that I really wanted to do in January, and I always write them down. So every time I'm looking at the numbers, I can remind myself what the goals are and how to make sure to get to them. So the first thing I did at the beginning of or at the end of December was I looked at my next month's bills account and see how much do we have in there, and then just subtract the difference divided by the number of paychecks I expect to use. And that's how I broke it down. Say, okay, I know I have to get that goal. And for February, our goal is to hit $500 in our annual bills. So we'll talk about that in a separate video. And that's also going pretty well so far, because I know that I only need to put a set amount each week, by each paycheck, which is every Friday, so that we can reach our goal. And then we can start attacking our credit card debt. So Q1 is full of little goals like that: reaching our savings goals, reducing our credit card balances, getting out of that little bit of credit card debt, so we can move forward more free and save more for the children. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the tool notebook that I'm using. I'm going to link it down below in case anyone is interested. Again, you don't have to use any of the books that I use, but grab yourself a simple budget workbook or annual budget workbook if you'd like to get a more detailed look at your finances. A simple intentional budgeting for financial freedom book is what I like to use. And then again, you can always use pen and paper just to stay on top of your finances, okay? That's the most important thing. So I appreciate you for being here. If you ever want to send me happy mail, you can send it to P.O. Box 930114, Rockaway Beach, New York 11693. And I hope that you continue to mind your money, manage it well, and live your lives abundantly. Bye for now.